These are the ethics for computer users, computer lab. First, respect the privacy of others. Very well known that privacy is a matter of personal use. Since privacy is somewhat ours, we should respect the privacy of also the others so that they can respect our privacy. We don't want others barging into our own privacy. Next is respect the integrity of the computing systems. What does this mean? Which means that the computer systems should be real, accurate, safeguarded, and unauthorized user modification. When you're using the computer lab at the school, you should not modify something since it is of the school. You see my point? Next is always identify the user accurately and respect copyrights and licenses. MSU IIT. In our computer lab, we have these accounts given to us by our professors where each user has a specific account. Now, if I am JULIU CURR, then I would log into JULIU CURR. This is accuracy of the user. And also, next is respect copyrights and licenses. Very well known that copyrights and licenses are obtained. They are not free. Therefore, you as a user of this computer lab, you should not violate this. What are such things as copyrights and licenses? Now, for example, the computer school has created or developed a software intended only for the school. You should not pirate it, should not copy it, or use it for your own self outside the school, since that software is their own. That software is owned by the school. They have the copyright to it and they have the license to it. And you should respect it. Even though you can pirate it, but always remember that you should respect the copyrights and licenses. Next is respect the intellectual property of others. As I mentioned before, back when I was in MSU IIT, there was this accounts given to us, and all of our files are placed into that account. Now, the intellectual property is that when I have a file on that, then you should not open it. If I left my account open, I forgot, then you should not pry on anything that is mine, since you are violating the my privacy, and you are violating my intellectual property. Next is exhibit responsible, sensible use of computer hardware, software, and data. Also, this thing is also easily mishandled. Why? Hardware located on your PC, which are, for example, is your HDD or your fans. This can be mishandled, or maybe you got angry, then you smack the system unit. It may damage components. So it is very sensible to exhibit responsibility on it. Do not damage the hardware, also the software. Do not install anything that is not of the school, or do not modify anything, any data, any software, and do not touch any of the hardware. Next is the ethical issues in technology and software. Now we dive into the issues in the ethical use. First is unauthorized access and use hardware. As I've mentioned before, do not touch anything inside of your system unit. When you open your system unit, most of the computers should have RAM, a CPU fan, an HDD, and a CPU in it. Those are the uses of hardware. Or also, there is a speaker, the mouse, and the keyboard. Those are hardwares. Unauthorized use means that you're not authorized to handle such things. And the ethical issues is that some may install, some may put a flash drive, those flash drive. And the issue lying in there is that when you input the flash drive, your flash drive might have a virus. Now, once you jack it in the PC or in the system unit, it may cause problems. So if you are not authorized to jack a hard drive or input a hardware aside from the provided, then do not do it, because this is part of the issue. Next is software, commonly known as installing and uninstalling files. Now, if I want to install something, then I will simply put an installer, then install. Now, the issue underlying in that, when you are in a computer lab, you want to install a game, but installing a game in a computer lab is already common sense unauthorized. Therefore, the ethical issue in that is inputting of software outside of the school. Anything that is of the school and the property of the school, as mentioned in the ethical use before, in the ethics for computer users, is that do not modify anything. Modifying means installing or uninstalling. So that is part of the issue in technology and software. Next is the network. Most of the PCs before have a limit in network. Not all of the schools have internet, but for those fortunate enough to have internet, there is a limit to what you can do. There was this school in high school before that have a blocker on websites. Students are free to use the internet, but students are not free to browse specific websites on the internet. Commonly, websites such as game websites, which is already redundant to school, and also rated 18 websites. These are issues underlying within technology and software, where people are mishandling the internet for such things, for such common things that are not of the school. Next is the computer files. Computer files, files that are for the school and in the school. When we modify something, then it is violating the ethics for computer users. Software and computer files is almost the same. The difference is, underlying difference is that the computer files you can copy, you can paste, or you can even delete or modify the computer files. So for example, I am a student and suddenly I have an access to in the school computer. The issue within that is that I am able to edit what is inside that PC. For example, I have my grade is located in there, in that PC, specific PC. Now, if I am able to access it, I can edit it. I can change my grade. Of course, the teacher will know that you have edited it because he will know your grade, surely. But still, it is an issue. Sometimes, there's so many students out there, the teacher cannot identify your grade or cannot memorize your grade, then it will go unnoticed. And it is unfair. Therefore, it is an issue. Next is hardware theft and vandalism, software theft, and information theft. These three is very common. School PCs are widely known to have access to Microsoft licenses. School PCs have sometimes software dedicated to them and information dedicated to them, where you have the software, the information data bank. Now, and vandalism in hardware is not common, but can happen. You see the picture. Hardware is anything that you can see. So, mouse, you can write anything on the mouse, you can write anything on the keyboard. Maybe a small problem, but it's still a problem. It is still an issue. Software theft. Now, you can copy all kinds of software on the PC of the school. Since I have said that some PCs of the school have dedicated software, if you want to use it at home, you can ask the school, maybe they will give you. You can search the internet, but do not pirate the software, since the software is commonly paid and it is an issue. Yeah, you get the point. Information theft, as I have mentioned before, some schools have information data banks, and you can steal information. In the Philippines, it is very uncommon for us to steal information, since most of the people in the Philippines know where each other live. But in the international countries, information is very crucial to them. They do not give their information to anyone. But in the Philippines, as I have said, we are very bold. We always say where we are. We always say where we live. So it is very uncommon for us, but part of it is an issue. Next is malicious acts in software: spam, phishing, malware, adware. These are different kinds of viruses created by specific software. If your flash drive is infested with the virus, or you have downloaded something from the internet that is infected with the virus, then it can affect the PC in spam, phishing, malware, and adware. Let me discuss what spam, phishing, malware, and adware is. Spam, from the word itself, will input something repeatedly or will spam you. For example, hello world. One hello world is okay. But when that hello world is repeated multiple times in multiple platforms, then that is spam. A software is able to do that. Facebook has a problem with spam nowadays. Remember when you see a picture about this naked woman? When you click on it, automatically your account will also post the link to all different kinds of group chats, groups, or even in your news feed. That is spam, because you are posting something again and again and again, tagging everyone so that they will click, they will also click, and it will also spread like wildfire. So it is spamming. Next is phishing. Phishing is a very serious crime. Phishing is something that you are prompted to input your bank account, input your Facebook account, your password, and your data. Then they will collect it. They will change it, then you will have no access to it. That's why you must observe the ethical use to avoid such things happening to you. Next is malware. Malware is different. It's just malicious. It intends to destroy the unit. It intends to destroy the system unit. For example, I have encountered this malware before, that when you type antivirus on your PC, it automatically freezes and corrupts your PC, forcing you to restart. It eats upon the power of your PC. For example, the PC is, maybe you notice that it's running very slower than before. Then you must check if you're infested with the malware, because it might affect the performance of your PC. Next is adware. Adware is where ads are littered everywhere in your screen. For example, if you went to YouTube, Jollibee ad, KFC ad, Downy ad, that is just ads. You can skip or you can watch. Now, adware does not give you the ability to hide or to stop ads. It will litter the computer with ads. From top, from the bottom, anywhere. It will put ads and it will affect the performance on your PC. Those are the malicious acts in software. Now, what are the acceptable and unacceptable uses of technology? The acceptable use of technology is when the technology is used. For example, if it is given to a school, that PC is for the school. So the use of that school technology, acceptable use for that school technology, is always related to the school. Unacceptable uses of technology is once that you breach the ethical use for computer users. Every time you breach is already unacceptable. So what do we conclude from this? We conclude that technology is available. Technology in schools is common today in this age. Since we are living in the modern age, we're living in the computer age, then technology is accessible to us. But everything that is too much can be mishandled. So we must be governed to what we are doing. That's why we have the ethical use of school technology. And that is all. Thank you for listening to the discussion.